Good morning. How's everyone doing this morning? All right, it is an exciting enterprise world. It's my honor and privilege to be hosting my 8th Enterprise World, but I have to tell you, it's never been more interesting, more exciting, more packed full of ideas than ever before. And it's not us, it's the world. It's what you're asking for from us and of us. And we've picked #Go, right? It's #Go time. There's a lot we need to do, but it's go time in getting it done. And here at the event, we have over 4,000 attendees over the next 3 days, 500 partners, 265 breakout sessions, 100 customer speakers. This is always part of the highlight of Enterprise World, is when we bring our customers together, we get on panels, we share stories, we share experiences. So please go seek out one of those great customer speakers or panels and be part of it. 90 industry experts, over 80 expositions. We've been able to integrate the speaking space to the exhibitions, which are right behind you, but right in front of me. And we have over 50 countries represented here, 50 countries who have attended. So just a big thank you and welcome. And I'd also like to thank SAP, Deloitte, Tata, and Accenture for being sponsors of the event. But I'd like to thank you, our super heroines and heroes, for all your great journeys with OpenText and all your help. Last year, we kicked off Enterprise World talking about Deus Ex Machina, kind of the year of the machine. And I'm going to give an update on how we're bringing machines and the Internet of Things into our solution base. This year, I don't know if next year I'll have a Latin expression, but I got another Latin expression this year of Mundus, Novus, which is, it really feels like a new world in so many ways. And the topics have never really kind of, consolidated so greatly. I think of planetary connectivity. If we think of the connectivity we all have today, there are 5 billion humans. 5 billion humans connected to the same internet. And that has implications of that planetary connectivity. We can watch a show on CNN or CTV. We can see a story about supply chains of cobalt minerals coming out of the ground in Africa on TV. And within hours or minutes, the world's largest hyperscalers are calling around, well, they're taking cobalt out of mines in Africa, but using child labor. Just saw it on the news. I don't know if it's news, but how do we fix the supply chain? And that planetary connectivity just creates all this enormous amount of very appropriate activity, but that speed is just amazing. It's planetary connectivity. Planetary connectivity. I think the new world is also about a new workforce. At OpenText, we are now more than 50% millennial in our workforce. And I think one of the greatest challenges that our customers face is that changing workforce. It's more global. It's more agile. Workforces are more contingent. They're less full-time. They're younger, they have different expectations. I don't mind saying it's a bit generational, but maybe a little more impatient. Of my job, I'm a programmer, and I've gotten the privilege to be a CEO, but at the core of my job skill was a programmer. That job didn't exist 40 years ago. What jobs are going to exist tomorrow in that workforce? That data scientist, right? The jobs we couldn't even imagine being existing. So, I think the workforce and those who manage the workforce, it's a whole different world. It's a new world. It's a Mundus Novus for the workforce. Industry 4.0 is here to stay, right? You know, we've, you know, Industry 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, I think it's a great expression how the nature of work, the globalization of work has changed from, you know, the advent of steam, an assembly line, to electricity, to the integrated circuit, to digitalization. And that digitalization, which I'm going to talk about in a moment, is forcing companies to reach hyperscale, right? You either got to get hyperscale as a business, or you got to massively differentiate, or to use an expression, you evaporate. So you're either going to get to that hyperscale, you're going to differentiate, or you're going to get to a place where you evaporate. And we believe that very deeply, and I think it's one of the core tenets of Industry 4.0. You got to scale up, you got to differentiate, or you're going to evaporate. And we're here, obviously, to help you scale up and differentiate. I also think in the new world, we don't believe in these scary monsters in sci-fi or artificial intelligence. We think they're good for movies. We're applied scientists at OpenText, and we look at how can we unlock the information that we've worked 20, 25 years together on content management, customer experience management, business networks, all our great platform technologies. We've worked 25 years together to bring all that information together into an OpenText platform. How do we unlock it with some insight? How do we unlock it with some algorithm and help you scale and differentiate through analytics and AI? So I think this is much better talked about in the new world as augmented intelligence, not artificial sci-fi intelligence. We got to pick practical problems and go solve interesting insights to help you scale and differentiate your businesses. And I think one of the last big tenets of this new world, this Mundus Novus, this new world, is augmented humanity. Augmented humanity. We have so much power in our hands today that we didn't have in our hands 5 years ago, 10 years ago. This is augmented humanity of how our human experience gets augmented by technology instantly for the good. I'm going to talk about some of it for the good, some of it for the bad as well. So, you know, I wanted to kind of tee up my comments today and talking about it's a new world. It's hashtag go time, right? And what we need to do. It's planetary connectivity. It's a new workforce. It's Industry 4.0. It's augmented intelligence. It's augmented humanity. And when you throw digital into all this, it makes it very, very complex. Digital makes things very complex. And the slide is intentionally complex because digital is complex. Again, how do we all scale up our businesses? How do we all differentiate our businesses, right? Or evaporate? And making digital, digital makes business very, very complex. This notion of time, space, and speed, I've never seen it so fast. I've never seen from a supply chain question coming out of a CNN news story. I've never seen requirements come in. I've never seen customers looking to differentiate, be able to expand into countries and functionality, new business models so quickly. And it ain't going to get any slower, right? This is, I don't know if this is the new speed. I suspect it's only going to get faster. But get ready, hashtag go time, because it's only probably going to accelerate from here, which means we need to prioritize. Right? Our brains are going to get smarter, but we need to prioritize. But this time, speed, space compression is that anxiety you're feeling, it's real. And it's real. And you gotta prioritize. I talked a little bit about that new workforce that includes both human and robots. I read a great New Yorker article 2 days ago that kind of reinforced this notion of augmented intelligence. They said, let's not call them robots anymore. Let's call them cobots, because they're going to live with us, and so let's call them cobots. It's your choice. Humans still have a choice, I guess. Analytics, AI, digital makes business very complex. The new job. My job didn't exist 40, 45 years ago. It got invented. They got invented at the tail end of Industry 3.0, Industry 4. Industry 4.0 has invented the data scientist. What new jobs? What new careers are going to be created? New business models because of digital. You know, every business, every customer wants to be a software company in the age of digital. And that's wonderful. And we're here to help do that. And it's very complex. It's even complex for software companies to be software companies. But this is part of how digital makes business very complex today. You bring in the cloud, you bring in IT, social responsibility. You know, GDPR isn't going away. It's here to stay. In fact, GDPR is the new standard. The notion of privacy, security, and compliance, they're one thing. They're all just slamming together as one thing: privacy, compliance, and security. And the roles of a chief information security officer, the role of a chief compliance officer, the role of an internal auditor, the role of chief information officer, right? These roles have a new elevation, and they need new tools, new EIM tools, new enterprise tools, right, to be able to ensure that information privacy, security, privacy. You know, digital makes the world very complex. There's a story out of California about a month ago, just to kind of prove, just kind of show how security, privacy, and compliance are kind of melding together. There's data for the good and data for the bad, and this sort of melds the two. The California killer. There was a serial murderer in California called the California Killer. And the California killer was caught about 30 days ago. 20-year-old case. 20-year-old case. The killer was caught about a month ago. What happened was there was an interesting investigator who said, you know what, we got some DNA left from that case, and it's pretty well preserved. So let me take that DNA, order a 23andMe kit, swab the evidence, mailed it off to 23andMe. Faked an ID, boom, came back a match, right? So we're uploading how many have uploaded their DNA to certain websites? I should have asked the question before I mentioned the story, because no hands just went up. Next time I'll work on my timing a little bit. But you know, think of how digital is making the world complex. Right? I'm glad they caught that killer, right? But you have a clever investigator who swabs DNA evidence, right? Puts it up into a service, gets a match, comes back, and it was a relative. Go out, finds the relative, interviews the relative, and finds the murderer, right? Where's the privacy? Where's the compliance? Where's the security? And where does the law end? Right, and rights begin. So I think this is a big topic. It's not going away. GDPR is coming to Canada. It's coming to North America. It's coming everywhere. Privacy, compliance, and security needs to be well managed in an information platform. Digital makes business complex today. Mobile's eating the world, and please, let's not forget about our day jobs. We got to go we got to go cut costs, increase revenue, scales our business, differentiate our businesses. But digital makes business very complex today. And in that vein, we've taken all that feedback and input, and we have focused on one of our announcements here at Enterprise World, is our evolution. We've evolved from a search company to an enterprise content management company to enterprise information management, and we are the intelligent and connected enterprise, the intelligent and connected enterprise. And this is what we're all going to walk through over the next few days, is this software for the new world, the intelligent and connected enterprise, to be able to address the new workforce challenges that we all have, the digitalization challenges, augmented intelligence, augmented humanity. And at the core of our vision, is this intelligent information core. And we have a few announcements we're going to make here, and I'm just going to ask you to wait for it as we get through the presentation. At the core of our vision is the Intelligent Information Core. And it is our automation for all the unstructured information processes. We follow big data, and we're going to get into that in a minute. It's AI built in, right? It's just security needs to be built into the data model. Analytics needs to be built into the data model. Data management needs to be built into the core. We're going to have a demo for the new developer in the world of SaaS and in the world of the cloud in a moment, but APIs, RESTful services, and those recipes need to be built into this intelligent core. We're here to unlock the power of the integration, of having one flow of identity all the way through what we do, to have the power of one definition of content all the way through our EIM processes. The definitions, one workflow engine that works and service that works across everything we do. Unlock the power of that integration. Off that intelligent core is our EIM platform. And we're going to walk through today the new world, an information-infused future with content services. We're going to introduce a new analogy for security here in a few moments. Our business network, we're here to try to smash the 4 walls using our business network, IoT, data integration, and the developer. These are all part of an enhanced product and vision around our EIM platform. And to the left of the orb is EIM applications. We have evolved into an applications company. We've spoken, we've talked about this for a few years. We're going to show some of those applications here at Enterprise World. If you look at kind of the EIM applications, you'll notice the rule we follow is we follow the big unstructured data sources. It's a simple rule for us. So if you follow these sources, they're big data sources, they're unstructured data sources. The first one is the customer. All that unstructured data that's thrown off from the customer, we're building applications around the customer experience. All the unstructured data that's created for employees. I remember when I was first an employee. I was a fairly well-behaved employee, I think, when I was a first employee. But I had a resume, had a CV, and maybe I got an annual review. Maybe. When I started out, there were two documents that were probably being managed for me as an employee. Today, all the unstructured data around full-time employees, around contingent workforces, around recruitment, background checks, long life employees, that whole life cycle throws off so much unstructured data. Again, we follow the big data, suppliers, assets, aircrafts, airframes, trains, automobiles, engines, power plants, engineering, construction. All that asset information, right, is so rich for us to put into that platform. And then things that surround IP, product innovation. It could be product innovation around pharmaceuticals and a new drug. It could be IP around an aircraft design. So we follow the big data, and we now have an application suite. So this is our vision in a diagram for the intelligent and connected enterprise. And we wrap this around our EIM suite, our OpenText cloud, and I'm going to drill down into many of these aspects. Delivering in that new world. We look at our top tenants, our top 10 tenants of intelligent and connected. We're going to talk a bit about the OpenText Enterprise Cloud, total security, business network, information-infused future, augmented intelligence, machines and endpoints, the new developer, simplified consumption, and our digital applications. Right? These are the top 10 priorities within that vision. So let me kind of drill into a few of them. The first is we've made a strategic decision that what we've automated for humans for the last 25 years, we're going to do for machines. Right? It is a cobot world, and we believe we can replicate for humans what we've done for machines, but it's really about the endpoint, which is the machine, the endpoint as the machine. It's being able to do the discovery, the information forensics on a laptop, on a mobile device. It's being able to work with drones and remote cameras to bring video in for inspection, pipeline analysis, engineering and construction. That's a machine, that's an endpoint to us. Being able to work in fleets of buses, cars, trains, brake systems. We have examples with aircraft manufacturers, with train manufacturers, with brake system manufacturers, where IoT information from that endpoint is flowing into our intelligent and connected core. Covisint brings us into the connected auto market, our work with GM, Hyundai, and others of connected cars. The world of home assistance, and that as an endpoint. We had KUKA on stage with us last year of bringing robotic information in, and we have new partnerships in healthcare in the lower right corner here of medical equipment, where we're bringing in that connected hospital, the connected patient, and helping customers accelerate processes like quality management or accelerate clinical trials through these connected endpoints. So this is a big strategy for us. We'd love to work with you in bringing those epic endpoints into the intelligent and connected enterprise. We got to bring those endpoints into what we do. It's not just the human content. And here are some of the companies we're working with, and we're very proud how we work with KUKA and can automatically bring in that robotic information. Bremis for connected brakes and train systems. So this is incredible progress over the last year of bringing machines into EIM. And here are a few examples that we'd love to be able to talk with you here at Enterprise World. I call these epic, these are epic endpoints. Bring the endpoint into what we do. I want to wind back 10 years ago, and I was thinking about all the incredible work we're doing in the core, that intelligent core. And if we kind of wind our thinking back 10 years ago, we were managing documents. We called it content management. This was state of the art 10 years ago. I put a little Canadian stamp on it, a little 3-cent, a little 5-cent stamp here to reflect, maybe the cost of 10 years ago. And think of the progress we've made together over the last 10 years. It is now an information-infused future. If we stayed just back on that postage stamp, right, we'd be at somebody else's conference, right? We're in the right room. This is an information-infused future. And the progress that we've made on this platform is cloud content management, collaboration platforms, document classification, right? Our auto classification becomes even more important in today's world. How do you go into 10 million documents and go, oh, that looks like a HIPAA document? How do you do auto classification, and go into 10 or 20 million documents, 100 million documents, go, maybe that document is GDPR interesting, or PII, personal information interesting. That auto classification tool has become ever more relevant, where GDPR is going to be ever present in what we do. Records management, information lifecycle management, meeting new regulations of how to store information. Our high volume engine is more relevant today in the machine generated era. We've brought electronic discovery and electronic review and legal analysis. We did a press release with the Serious Fraud Office out of the UK a few months back of where we can, in an automated way, go through literally 10 million case documents, 10 million case pages, and through electronic review, AI capture to metadata, get down to the relevant 100 pages of review, from 10 million pages to 100 pages of relevant information. So it's an information-infused future, and I'm just so proud of our continuous innovation, our continuous partnership that has brought forward this information-infused future. And you'll see it in the expose behind you. And I want to thank a variety of our key customers. Right? These are customers who are demonstrating at scale that information-infused future. Every customer touches, though they may not see it, touches the OpenText intelligent platform for every transaction. I want to maybe advance the thinking a little bit to security. And I'm going to start security in sort of a different place. And we'll all take away a few things from enterprise world. Jack talked about, which I believe, you have to assume that bad actors are already inside your network. I believe in that. I think it changes your security posture when you think, there are, two types of companies. You've either been hacked, or you don't know you've been hacked, but you've been hacked, right? This report I found incredible from the World Economic Forum here on the left-hand side. This is the World Economic Forum 2018 report. And over here, this is their chart of where the world's crisis is going to come from. Where's the world's crisis going to come from a bunch of great thinkers at the World Economic Forum. And up and to the right, over here, up and to the right, impact, likelihood, up and to the right, they list three things: acts of God, climate, natural disasters, extreme weather, and up and to the right, machines. So I found that profound that the World Economic Forum talks about the world's crisis, high likelihood, high impact, is going to come from one of two places: an act of God or a machine. Conjunctive with that, Verizon issued a report, same time, that said, okay, 60% of all breaches happen from external sources. 28% roughly, 28% of security breaches come from someone internal. 28% of security breaches comes from internal. Doesn't mean 28% of your employees are malicious, right? Maybe you get that phishing or spam email, right? So it's a zero trust environment. If it's the number one risk and near a third comes from internally, how do you trust this world? Right? How do we create trust of this information-infused future? And you see the bad things happening with the information. You see it everywhere. This is a sort of a build through time. It's just getting bigger. It's getting more exposure. It's almost daily. You see companies above the fold in the newspaper, above the fold in the newspaper. And some of these things are getting a bit more extreme. Maersk, Boeing, FedEx. You had the city of Atlanta. The city of Atlanta was shut down, right? The city of Atlanta was shut. The criminal justice system was shut down. The police department was shut down. Law enforcement was shut down. Their tax collection was shut down too, but that wasn't in the news. So bad things continue to happen. And look, I think we all know what they're looking for. They're looking for customer information. They're looking for employee information, product design in a lot of cases, payments, orders, invoices. They're now looking for these state actors, bad actors, espionage. They're looking for machine data and a whole lot more. This is the world's most valuable resource, is that information. And this is why we're very passionate. We're very passionate about building security into the intelligent and connected enterprise, building it in from the core. And as Jack highlighted, which we believe, you gotta assume that they're already inside, right? And because hackers just work differently. They test the perimeters, they spam and phish. We've all seen these, and some of them are pretty good. The fascinating thing is that once the network is penetrated, the actors lurk. They go lateral, they find another weakness, they lurk. And there's this new concept of dwell time, of how long a bad actor dwells in your network before you discover it. And dwell time is close to 100 days. 100 days of dwell time is just unconscionable. And look, it's not human fighting human. It's got to be machine fighting these machines to reduce that dwell time. And they try it, and the thing that has a lot of commonality in those breaches are the weak information policies, the weak information procedures, and the weak information systems. To me, security is not number 7, right? Security is not 7 on that digitalization list. Security's got to be job 1 that we're all focused. Security's got to bump to the top of the list of that long list of digital. Security's got to bump to the top. It's got to be job number 1. Job number 1. So I'm going to introduce sort of a new analogy. We kind of see the human immune system a lot like security, right? All these different systems, the immune systems are very complex. It's autonomic. It runs on itself. It creates its own defenses. And we think what we're doing at OpenText with Release 16 and an announcement soon to come is that information, that intelligent and connected enterprise is the immune system for business. It's the immune system for business. And let me walk through some of the things we can help you with. The content services, data management, data protection, data analysis, data remediation, and data cleanup. We can secure, we can share and collaborate with confidence through OpenText Core. How do you share and collaborate with integrate in your community? We think Core is a perfect way to do that. Guidance software, Encase, it is the world's leading endpoint forensic and analysis tool. We can help in that immune system for business. Identity and access management, our new IAM solution that came through Covisint, that allows for data ownership in every people, device, and application needs and identity in the digital world. We can solve that with our software. A single instance for trading partners. Muhi and John Radko have worked tirelessly to consolidate our 1 million+ trading partners and be able to give them all an identity and secure them. Electronic discovery, when things do go wrong, and they will go wrong, you need the tools to recover, and we have the world's best suite around electronic discovery. And I want to put front and center our auto classification tools, right? I want to re-put these front and center of how do we look. We have customers with 1 billion objects in our platform, and take our auto classification tool to look at GDPR, PII, PHI, PCI, HIPAA, and go, that's an interesting document. Maybe it shouldn't be there. Maybe it should have a different classification. So it's going to be a new era of auto classification based on these new regulations. So you're going to hear us talk about, in the coming quarters, using this analogy of security is the immune system for business, and why a well-managed, well-architected, information-infused platform is the way to go to get top up and to the right of security. And we have customers on the journey with us already. We're well on this journey with close customers and how we're working together as security as the immune system for business. Security as the immune system for business. And in this age of intelligent and connected, that connected part, a traditional organization, the concept of the 4 walls, have historically talked about, I wrote them up here, customer engagement, a supply chain, financial transactions, product and services. I mean, that's how you'd look at a traditional 4-walled organization pre this Industry 4.0, pre 4.0. With our latest release of Business Networks, we kind of say internally, we're here to smash those 4 walls. It's not a supply chain. It's an intelligent supply network. It doesn't look like a chain to us at all. It's a network. When we bring a trading partner onto our network, we then bring all its hubs and spokes onto the network, right? That is a network. It's the network effect of that. If you do business with someone, you can follow this, this business network chain. Some call it a blockchain, but we follow this business network chain through our supply chain. Trusted trading partners. We now incorporate machine transactions. Mui's going to demonstrate Magellan integrated to that business network. We are now at over 60 playbooks for 60 countries where we can bring our business network for electronic invoicing, local law, data compliance into 60 countries around the world and be able to do supplier management, electronic invoicing, product catalogs, and transact at that endpoint over 60 countries. We've been building country by country through the years. Some of our partnerships together have moved us forward a little more quickly. But man, it's just amazing where we are today on our business network. Trillions of commerce annually over our network, where we can now, our endpoint is a country, and we have over 60 of them. And we've advanced our protocols to what we call any-to-any in this new world. We can talk it's polyglot. We can talk any language. We can talk any system to any system, ERP to cloud. We can talk Salesforce to EDI. We can talk an I2O IoT standard to SAP. It's an any-to-any world, and we've cracked that code of connectivity for EDI, ODM, fax messaging, IoT, ERP, cloud to cloud, machine to machine. It's really very impressive, that connectivity. And we have customers who have been helping us on this journey, helping us. And I'm very proud of being a strategic partner to some of the world's best businesses. These are companies that I look at and have great respect for, and we all can learn from, who are smashing the four walls using a business network. I'm going to get into kind of the final third of what I'd like to talk about this morning, but I want to get your attention for a moment. I want to grab your attention for a moment. Let me grab your attention and say that most people view AI this way. Big, scary robot. Big, scary robot. Gonna eat my little dog. Right? Big, scary robot. We don't view AI that way at all. We want to view that augmented intelligence very much in a way that is person plus machine. It's not person versus machine. And we've been at this for 1 year. Last year, we had on stage our machine, Magellan, and we've learned a lot over that last year. We've learned a lot over 1 year. We're over 100 proofs of concepts. We've won customers. We're live in various places. I'm about to talk about some customer stories. Here's what we've learned over the last year, that we think there are 4 key ingredients, and the formula is simpler. The formula is simpler for AI. 4 key ingredients, 1 simple formula. Those ingredients are really automation maturity. You got to be mature in your ERP process. If you don't have a mature supply chain process, you're not going to get any AI out of it. You should go back and just focus on the automation and get the automation right in a lot of ways. You need mature digital processes in that intelligent and connected core, or in your business suite core. The next part of that key ingredient is you got to get your data models right, wherever they may live internally or externally. You got to get that digital maturity in that intelligent and connected core. And if you're not mature, go complete the automation. If your data models aren't quite right, make sure they're built in right. The third thing that we've learned is customers don't want to go out and spend big dollars on big projects and spend a lot of time. They know their business. They know their hypotheses. Customers know their curiosities of where they want to go, and they want a tool to get connected to that data, get connected to that automation, and they want to experiment rapidly at low cost, and then tweak along the way. They want tools that a data scientist can use. We love our global system implementers, and we love our professional services, and they have a role to play. They have a big role to play. But customers want the data scientists and want to be able to use these tools and algorithms under their own control, if you will. And then the fourth thing that we've learned, the four key ingredients, is you got to go after a high-value insight. What is that high-value insight that you want to use augmented intelligence for? So the formula, you know, is gotten simplified. It's the information plus an algorithm that equals an insight. So this has matured a long, long way, that there are four key ingredients in one simple formula. So it's been just an incredible year of learning, an incredible year of customer deployments, and I wanted to share kind of those four key ingredients, one simple formula, and some of the high-value insights. We look forward to working together to bring Magellan into your environment, to be able to work together on finding that high-value insight and seeing if we can extract it out of the information. So high-value insights. High-value insights. High-value insights. I also wanted to share a couple examples that we earlier talked about information for the bad. There's a lot of examples of information for the good. Information for the good. And this is a big initiative for us, that we think that information can be used for the good. On the left here, .gov, of the people and by the people. The G7 was recently hosted here in Canada. It was in the news. And it was in the news, the G7. And we, with the government, we put up a AI system. So mygg7.ca is a live site, and that site goes out and reads over 200 publications a day, newspapers, blogs, tweeting feeds. That information comes into Magellan. Magellan then does semantic analysis and content analysis and produces back insights into all the news. What's popular, what's not, what's trending, what's not. And it's a fantastic way of individuals being able to voice what's important, and through an AI engine come front and center. So check out the website. It'll be up for a few more weeks post the G7. We're also very proud of our relationship with the UN Refugee Agency. When you're a refugee, you have very little. And the UN Refugee Agency is using OpenText technology to help get the right resources to the right location around the world. This is a great example of using data for the good. They will go out to social media and bring data in from social media. They use retinal scans to be able to identify a refugee, and then they'll use that retinal scan back at another device, an ATM, to disperse funds. And that information is managed back in an OpenText platform, an intelligent and connected platform. So we're helping the UN Refugee Agency be able to identify, manage, process, store, and help those who need that help the most to get the right resources at the right location. We can use data for the good, not just for the bad. So I wanted to express some of how we're so passionate about being the information company, and I think it gets reflected right here. Reflected right here. I want to transition a little bit to talk about our blueprint, Release 16. Release 16. This is our hybrid EIM platform, and Release 16 has a long life. A long life. It's the most comprehensive suite in the market. It manages hybrid workloads. EP5 is on schedule for November. We've been going through these continuous innovation releases, EP1, Enhancement Pack, EP stands for Enhancement Pack, EP1, EP2, EP3, EP4 came to market in April, EP5 will come to market in November, and we're planned out through EP7, and we'll take some of those requirements and slot them into the EP series along the way, but we are planned out on release 16 through the spring of 2020, and it's a long life release. It's a long life release. It is a platform for innovation. In that blueprint, here's a visual for it. Many of our customers deploy release 16 on premises. Many of our customers deploy release 16 in a private cloud, our managed services. And our managed service business today is over 2,000 customers. It's a big business, it's an important business. We're proven to be experts in this. We have over 2,000 customers running in our private cloud. We call it a managed service with release 16, integrates to our business network. Our supply chain, EDI, ODM, fax, messaging. This is you'll notice there's a circle here missing. I'm going to get to that circle in a moment. We have a lot of emphasis on our OpenText Enterprise Cloud, that managed service. It's an infrastructure. It's the OpenText software stack, all hosted, managed in the OpenText Cloud. It's application management, it's change management. We provide the business continuity. We provide the security. We do managed disaster recovery. We do systems monitoring, help desk. It's all the great capabilities that we provide in our managed services. Over 2,000 customers. We're responsible for security. We now promise 99.99% uptime in our cloud. You never have to upgrade again. Friends don't let friends buy data centers. You can outsource your security. We're standards-based, NIST, ISO, SOC, GDPR compliant. We'll provide one contract, one SLA, and you can BYOL, and that's not bring your own liquor, that's bring your own license. And you can bring your own license to the cloud. This is an important business for us, and we look forward to continue to work together. We want to make this consumption easier as we go forward. So we're looking to simplify that consumption, and we're announcing today that release 16 with EP5 has been fully containerized and will run anywhere. So it no longer just runs in the OpenText Cloud, release 16. We will work with you to have it run in the hyperscalers of Google, the Microsoft Azure, or AWS. So with our upcoming release, EP5, release 16 will run anywhere. So if you'd like us to run release 16 in Google, Azure, AWS, it will be built in out of the box. We're also going to make the pricing simpler. We're introducing OpenText Prime Unlimited for release 16. And it's all that enterprise software, a standard managed service, per user, per month, 2,000 user minimum, 3-year term, $99 per user per month for that software. So we're introducing Prime Unlimited along with release 16. And we're also giving kind of this galactic and global nature. We're introducing one support program for release 16 called Prime Protect. We're now consolidated for new customers, or you can upgrade to this, one program. One program. It's 24/7. It's not 9 to 5. It's 24/7. It's multi-language. It's global. It's in all our global support centers. It's the new standard, and we're going to put Core into that program as well. So you'll get OpenText Core as part of that program, part of that one program. So we're going to try to simplify the consumption. You know, we've gotten great scale in our managed services, and we want to continue to scale that with you to help bring more workloads in, bring new processes in, bring new customers into the cloud. And part of our learning is let's go support some of the hyperscalers. Let's make the consumption easier on pricing with Prime Unlimited. And let's go make the support easier with Prime Protect. So that's all brand new as of today. All right, so. Look, I don't buy into this notion anymore. I've thrown this notion away that we have this typical three-phase careers in our lives. Yeah, you go to school, you get a job, you retire, right? I think with augmented humanity, I think it's a long life, and it's a very long life. So I think it's okay to be reborn along the way. I think it's okay to be reborn. And today we're reborn. We're reborn cloud. And today we're introducing OT2, OpenText OT2. And Project Banff is gone, right? Just like red oxygen, blue carbon. Project Banff is now OT2, OpenText OT2. OpenText OT2. It is native SaaS. We've built OT2 from the ground up. We're about to show it. OT2 we've built from the ground up. This is what was Project Banff. Native SaaS, built on microservices. Quarter releases, runs in the OpenText Enterprise Cloud. It's our next generation of applications. It's pre-integrated to release 16. It is one data model. We've taken our 25 years of experience in content services and customer experience management, business process management, business network, and integrated the data model. One data model. We've also consolidated the tech stack down to one tech stack. And we're introducing today OpenText OT2. And that blueprint, that color print for OT2, really is broken into three pieces. It's the OT2 platform, it's the OT2 services, and it's the OT2 applications. On the platform, if you were to start a SaaS company today, this is where you'd start. You'd start in Cloud Foundry, you'd start in Kafka, Elk, New Relic, make it containerized, you'd have a low-cost infrastructure using Postgres, and you'd be managing those RESTful services and APIs via a tool like Apogee. So we've written OT2 from the ground up. We are reborn cloud, and this is the OT2 platform right here. The services, we've taken what we've done through our acquisitions and through our time, and we've serviceized big pieces of our code base, from Documentum, from Extreme, from StreamServe, from Captiva, from OpenText Content Services, from Core, from Hightail, and we've created the OT2 services. One service, integrated data, authentication, identity access management, workflow, administration, capture, content services, analytics, AI, and more into this services platform. And we've built new applications on top of it. Core, running today. Archive Center, running today. People Center, running today. Soon, Business Center, Legal Center, Contract Center, running today. Quality Center, Invoice Center. This is our next generation of digital applications running on those OT services, hosted in the OT2 platform, hosted in the OpenText Cloud, native SaaS. Native SaaS, one data model, one tech stack. And we see this completing the need. We're a hybrid company. You still ask us to run on-premise for many of your strategic processes that you want to continue to run on-premise. And we're completely committed to that with Release 16. You want the benefits of SaaS, but you want your own private cloud. We believe this is a business. We've proven it's a business. 2,000 plus customers and growing. And we are all in on private cloud managed services, Release 16. We got Prime Protect, Prime Unlimited, Run Anywhere now, right, to help simplify the consumption even more. But today we're introducing OpenText OT2. And these two things will live next to each other and have a long life next to each other. Release 16 in the EP series, and OT2 introduced, running together. And they complete the need of on-prem, private cloud managed services, and public SaaS cloud. Where we may differentiate from others is that middle block of managed services. Right? We run in very complex and very regulated industries, and many of you have asked us to be the hyperscaler for managed services. And we are that hyperscaler for managed services, and will continue to be. And I think one of the big aspects of what we've advanced on the platform here over the last year is how we've become the platform for innovation. The platform for innovation. We have Tom Jenkins with us today, our chairman, and Tom and I spent a lot of time together. We brainstorm a lot on the developer, and this is both, I know, a passion of both of ours, that we want OpenText to flourish in this world of the developer. And here's the best way to kind of show how we're flourishing in the world of the developer. I used a word last year with AppWorks called polyglot. And I like using that word polyglot. Maybe it makes me feel smart. So polyglot is the ability to speak in multiple languages, right? So it's a nice fancy word. It's a polyglot approach. And we think it's really important to support you in how you want to write code. You want to write in Java, you want to write in JavaScript and Python and Perl and R. We want to support that. We also want to support a low-code application environment called AppWorks. So that's the top layer where we're committed to our tool, AppWorks, low-code environment, but we need to open up so you can write in the language you want, embed the way you want. We have over 1,000 customers today, over 1,000 customers who are embedding or have written on top of our platform. We have over 500 services and APIs. We've made incredible progress over the year as a platform for innovation. We have over 1,000 customers embedding what we do through these services and down to our intelligent and information core. So now I'd like to show it to you. And I'd like to invite on stage Savnier Berry, our VP for Cloud Services Development, and we're now going to show you this layer to help you be and create this platform for innovation. Savnier, hello, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Yeah, you're going to take the. He took my clicker.
Thanks for having me over here.
Yeah, no worries.
So what I thought we'd do here is we'll actually talk to you about what does this platform look like for the future. What does the modern developer mean? And as Mark said, we have about 25 million developers in the world today, approximately.
Roughly, yep.
And that's up from probably 10 million or so just only a few years ago.
Dude, when I started, there were about 100,000.
Okay. That reminds me of the number of buggies that we had, 17 million buggies and 23,000 cars, and now it's...
Now I'm a monkey. Keep going.
There you go. Yeah. So what I thought we'd do is we'd talk to you about what does this microservices, modern developer platform look like. And don't get scared by the chart on the screen. There's a lot there. But I want to show you what this means for you, the work that we have done behind the scenes on the OT2 platform. So you see all the different services underneath. These are services from our IoT from Covisint. These are services from analytics. These are services from authentication, from viewing. These are all the technologies that you have been using from us over the last 20, 25 plus years. And now we have made it such that all the complexity is hidden behind the scenes, and we've made it extremely easy for you to use as a RESTful interface on the top. And somebody mentioned earlier, well, what about other services like blockchain, where you can see very soon there will be other things like blockchain in that little circle coming up as we start to enhance some of this portfolio. So you have these services, and you have the applications on the top. So let me talk to you about what we did to create some of these applications ourselves and how we can help you do the same. So let's take an example of one of these applications. Let's call it our capture application, and that's called Snap. This is one of the ones that we have created over the last couple of years. Now, Snap is a capture application which uses several things. It uses authentication, it uses tenancy, which is the basic fundamentals for any application. You need to authenticate it. You need to be able to use it, give it to your users. Then it also uses something called as the content metadata service. It uses something called as a storage service. All of these put together as Lego blocks and build this application. So you can imagine all of these individual services literally being like Lego blocks. And as my 6-year-old likes to say, I can build a Jeep with a Lego block, I can build a tractor, and I can build a car, but the same set of Lego blocks. So now we have the same set of Lego blocks for you to build applications that you want to do yourselves. Let's take another example, a different application. It's in the life sciences space. It's a quality management application. This application actually leverages, as Mark was mentioning earlier, AppWorks low-code. And in that, we've taken AppWorks low-code, we've used other services like authentication, like tenancy, and content capture, storage, and on the back end, all of these put together created this application. So the goal here is that we have kind of distributed, almost disaggregated all of these services into individual components, which are very easy to put together and consume on the top. So as you can imagine, if we acquire new companies, if we integrate new technologies, now they all have a way to talk to each other. And they have a way to expose to you as customers and partners who can build your own applications if you choose, or use pre-built applications that we have for you. So with that, let's actually go into a demo and show you what it looks like.
Thank you, Savnier.
OK, so can we go over to the other computer, please? All right, so this is the first time we're showing this. So you're getting a preview of what this modern developer experience looks like. This is a portal. Let's assume that you are, I'm going to paint a scenario for you. There is a automotive parts manufacturing company. And that company is looking to now increase its throughput. For people who are in the manufacturing space, you know exactly what I'm talking about. How do you increase your throughput on the assembly line? In this case, what's happened is you have a machine which is on the assembly line, and there's 3 or 4 machines. If there's any error in the machine that happens, the error is not being reported back to the foreman of that assembly line in time to service that machine. And because of that, the number of parts that are coming out of that assembly line are going down. So the throughput's going down. So what do? Well, what they say is, you know what? We'd love to build an application which can have a way to take that input that's coming from the machine that I'm down to a work order, to the foreman, and the foreman assigns the job to to his person on the line, and that gets implemented, and boom, that's done, taken care of, the machine starts again. So that's the scenario. All right, so let's kind of go through, if I'm the developer, I'm being given the job to do that application. I come over here, and I say, you know what? Wow, this is a cool-looking website. It's got different services from OpenText, and it has the word hybrid cloud. Oh, that sounds interesting. That means I don't really need to worry about, if I already have an application, I don't need to worry about transporting all of that data to a different cloud. It's hybrid, which means if I have something, it works. If I can extend something, it works with that too. So I look at a service, process automation.
So as a developer, I can come here and get these services.
That's right.
Off of kind of public access to opentext.com.
That's right. And if you notice, I haven't even logged in yet. So I haven't given any of my information. Even before that, I'm trying to see information that, is this worth my time?
Yep. Let's look at some of the services.
So these are all the services that we have: Internet of Things, security, AI analytics. And then you can go in and look at the other services that are available. So identity services. This is an example of the various services that are there from, we talked about IAM, Identity and Access.
So when we talk about our 500 plus APIs and RESTful services, here they are.
This is a running catalog of what the services might look like. And there's process automation, there's content services, different services that all of you have been using in some way, shape, or form, and now they're all in one place. If that's not enough, I, as a developer, can also then go in and actually look at the APIs themselves. So I can go into, let's say, the Files API and be able to say, you know what, I'm going to try this API out and see if this is something that I want to use or not. So I go and I can try it in real time. I don't have to, again, wait for somebody. I don't have to call somebody, can I get an authentication code to try out the API? No, none of that. You literally go in, you can try this out, and you can, if you want, if you're so keen to do it, you can see the schema as well. So for those of the geeks in the room, this is all wrapped around a technology called Swagger. which allows you interactively to be able to determine whether you want to use that API or not. And you can see the entire schema. And this is without ever logging in even to the portal.
Unlike IBM, we'd have to call them and they'd mail you a DVD.
Or probably talk to somebody on the phone for a long time and figure out if that's right for you. So there you go. So now, this is cool. I love it. Now I'm going to actually go and build the application. So I'm going to go in and sign in. When I sign in, I get to an experience where there are two more things now added to my portal experience. So one is solutions. This is another tab that just got added because I signed in. And the other is security. So as Mark mentioned, security is something we take extremely seriously. It's woven into the fabric of every product that we are designing. So this is an example of that. Now in solutions is where I go in and I need to go out and start developing my own application. For that, what I see here is, it says, new solution, wonderful. That's exactly where I'm going to start. So in that, I say, let's say I'm creating an application called CSC11. The name for that is CSC11. The description is a supply, actually, I should say supply network app, not a supply chain app.
There you go.
So it's a supply network app, and I want to deploy that in different data centers. I can choose if I want to deploy that in a staging data center versus a different geography. So depending on where I am, whether it's US West, East, Europe, et cetera, I can deploy it there.
Define data zones.
Defined data zones,
yep.
Exactly. Amazon calls this availability zones. We call it defined data zones.
Yep.
So I want to do it in a staging data center. And I decide that, and I click Add. As soon as I click Add, boom, my solution is created. Now, when a solution is created, there's one more thing I need to do. I need to add a tenant to that solution. And for those of you who don't know what a tenant is, it's not the Airbnb tenant that we are talking about. We're talking about a tenant which is basically a space in a server sitting somewhere in the cloud that I'm deploying all of these services to, and I can be ready to start building my application. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add a tenant. And in that tenant, let's say I'm going to call that tenant a name, dev supply chain, and I'm going to say a description again, supply network. And I can decide when I want to deploy this as a dev tenant or as a non-prod tenant. Again, that's important. For those of the developers in the room, you know the difference, and you know why it's different and needs to be different. And then what I can do is I can literally create an alias. What's an alias? This is the URL that once I develop the application, I can give to any of my users and say, this is a place where you can start using the application. So they don't have to go through a firewall. They don't have to go through a VPN, nothing. They get the link, and they can access the application. So this is that URL, and I'm doing it on the fly. I don't have to wait for anybody for it. And then let's say, enter my password here, and here's where the magic comes in. So you see on the right side of here, this is the list of all the services that I had earlier in the chart. If you remember those little bubbles on the PowerPoint.
We picked a few of the services.
Picked a few of the services. So I have the IoT services, the content services, process automation, identity services, Magellan services, messaging services. And this list will keep growing. This is just the start. This list is going to keep growing. And let's say in this case, I'm going to pick that we're only using these 4 services to build the application because I'm going to use IoT services to create a digital twin of that machine that was on the assembly line. I'm going to use the process services to then kick off a workflow order. And I'm going to use the content services to show the document for what document needs to be created to fix the machine. So those are the 3 I'm going to use. And of course, identity, I need that. I cannot access the application if I don't have identity. So I click Add Tenant. Now, what you're seeing in front of you, this is real. It's actually creating a tenant right now, in real time. This is not smoke and mirrors. This is nothing. This is real. It is creating a tenant as we speak. It's going to take about 60 to 90 seconds or so for the tenant to be created. And while it's doing that, and I'm actually going to show you what it looks like. So here in the solution.
If I can just interject, so if we think of that intelligent and connected core of provisioning EIM in the cloud real time, provisioning those RESTful services with those code samples, that's what this is doing right now.
Exactly what it's doing.
Right? It's taking all that work and within 60 to 90 seconds, provisioning EIM, the intelligent connected core in the cloud.
That's exactly what it's doing.
Yep.
And in fact, if you notice here, it says no tenants for this solution yet. I'm going to come back in about a few seconds, and it will actually show you what changed there. So let's go and see what it looks like if I've created one. So I already pre-created a tenant and see what that looks like. In fact, this is exactly your point right here. So you see all these URLs that were created. These URLs are manifestations of all of these services at the core. So now these URLs are literally services from IoT, from process, from content that were all provisioned to this one tenant on the fly. We don't have to do anything else. Now, also, again, for the geeks in the room, I'll go one more click down. There, and this is cool. I get excited about this. Because here, what it also shows you is something called as a client ID and client secret. Why is this important? This is the username and password for the developer. This is how they know they can go get access to this application themselves. They can get access to the services themselves. Earlier, again, you had to wait to get this in an email or some other way. Here, it's delivered for you on the fly. And so it's client ID, client secret, ready to go.
You can log on right away.
You can log on right away.
Yep.
Exactly. Now let's go take a look and see if the tenant got created. There we go. CSC 11, dev SC tenant, it's done. It's created. So now let's actually go through and see, I've got my services provisioned, I've got my tenant provisioned. Now I need to design the application. So there's a typical designer experience that I'm sure all of you are used to build the application. So let's see what that looks like. In this case, I want to see what my design experience looks like for the IoT part of the application, which is the digital twin that I'm creating for that machine, which is on the assembly line. So here, I've done that. I go into the devices. This is the list of all the devices. These are all the digital twins that were created. I can go in and click and see what the status of each of these devices are. So the carrier belt device 3, it's telling me it's active right now, and it's telling me when it was created, et cetera. So it gives me all the metadata around that device right away. So I've created this sort of design time for my IoT application. I can do the same thing for the process side, so how I'm building the entire app together and connecting the various dots. And for those of you who are familiar, this is actually our AppWorks environment. And also, just a plug, this environment, the UI, will be changing. So watch out for that. This is going to get better. And here, when I go in, I see I can open my workspace, and it gives me an option for the designer, what the designer looks like to build the application out. So I go in here, and it's already got a section where I have created a designer. I click in, and here it'll give me a visual representation of what the application is going to do. It's going to read the event from the machine, and depending on if there's a failure or not, it's either going to throw out an updated information on the asset, or it's going to go out to create a work order if there was a failure. Now, this is all the design time side of things. This is done. So we have our tenant created. We have our design time done. Now, it's actually time to run the application and see what it looks like. So let's go ahead. If I run that application, here's kind of what it looks like. So this is an application. We called it OpenText CSC, Connected Supply Chain. And in that, you see all these devices on the left side. These are the devices that we had created all the digital twins for. It's created the work orders. These are the work orders that got generated because of some kind of error that happened in that machine. And if you want to go into even more detail, you can see that here. In the work order, if I click on that, I'll be able to see exactly what the status of the work order is. I can see if it's open, if it's in progress, or otherwise. It's already assigned to the foreman. If I want to open that work order, it'll show me the documents that were associated with that work order. So in this case, let's say there's a document which tells me how to fix that machine. So it already shows up a little schematic. And that schematic is something the foreman can then see and identify if they want to fix this machine or not.
So Savinay, we're going to end right there. So ladies and gentlemen, Savinay Berry, thank you. Okay, thank you. Our RESTful services, they're all published on developer.opentext.com. You can now provision an EIM environment. You can get an immediate logon. And in this case, we used a simple application for IoT, taking devices and connecting into that provisioned environment. What used to take weeks is down to about probably an hour hosted in the cloud for all our RESTful services with the OT2 services. In summary, we couldn't be more excited about the intelligent information core. We see this as an information infused future. We went from managing just content to this incredible information infused portfolio in the digital era. Security, we think security is analogous to the immune system, and it's built into the intelligent and connected core. Security as the immune system. Our business network is smashing the four walls of a traditional enterprise. And we believe that EIM is that platform for innovation. It's a platform for innovation. We have over 1,000 customers embedding or building on top of EIM. We're eager to show you our applications out in the booths here, and we're going to transform from within. And we are reborn cloud with OT2. We have release 16 for on-premise. We have our private cloud managed services with release 16, and we've introduced OT2 as the new pure SaaS platform, all integrated into our business network. Thanks for being at Enterprise World. Thanks for a great kickoff, and look forward to spending the next couple of days together. Thank you very much.